Guys, welcome back to our channel RK Data Labs, and today we are going to see one interesting topic from AWS Glue. As I said before, today we are going to focus on loading a JSON file data into Redshift. As we all know, Amazon Redshift is a data warehouse tool where it keeps giving you in terms of querying the data much faster, and it runs with cluster based capacity, right? Comparing to Athena and Redshift is a cluster based performance enhanced tool where the queries will get speed up so that the data will come very fastly. Okay, so now in today's use case, what we are going to do, we are going to have one JSON file. Obviously the JSON file will have a couple of fields, data, right? So we are going to load the data which is present in JSON file to a Redshift data warehousing table. Okay, and one more thing that we are going to do, there is one transform layer we are going to introduce between source and target. We are going to add one new column called current timestamp. Okay, so for that what we are going to do, we are going to select visual ETL. Of course we will be selecting S3 as our source, and then for transform what we are going to do, we are going to have one new thing called, there is something called add current timestamp. Okay, this is what we are going to add a dynamic column into our data set. All right, then comes target. Of course, as I said, we need to select Redshift. All right, so now before moving on to the logic part, we are going to change the name of it. So let me keep the name as dt json transform. All right, so let me go to job details. As usual, we should be doing it, updating the IAM roles and the number of workers to be 2. So that's it. So we have saved it, the prerequisites. Coming back to visual, selecting the S3. So we are simply going to select the bucket where the data is present, obviously. So I see like in tboomi json there is a valid JSON file is available. So let me also show that data visually. Go back here, click this actions, query. Let's understand what kind of data we have in this JSON file. So we have like something called 5 different columns: name, language, ID, bio, version. So in addition to that, for each and every record we are going to have one new column called current timestamp. Okay, we can keep it as is whatever we have. All right, so let me go back here to here, and of course you can able to see the data which is already very fastly it has previewed the data like which we have sourced it, right? So I have not even selected the JSON format, since the S3 URL where we have given, right, it is automatically picking the JSON as a format and given as a data format. So the first thing is completed. Then let's move on to the transform logic. Yes, so what we are going to do, so here the node parent, obviously it is selected, there is only one node parent, right? So it is automatically selected, and now we need to add a new column here. So what we can do, we can give a timestamp or last timestamp. Okay, so I'm just giving a simple last timestamp as a column name. So what it should show in this layer, if you go at the right side, see it has generated one new column, dynamic column called last timestamp. Okay, as part of this transform logic, right, it just simply adds a new column and then adds the latest timestamp into it. Okay, for every record you see, that timestamp will get added for each and every record. Okay, so this is to ensure that if you want to process the incremental records in Redshift, right, let's say how do you query the data which is populated after July 17. So we want to ensure that we have a proper timestamped column so that like we can even query the data based on this timestamp. Remember, if there is no timestamp related columns or there is no unique column is there, if you want to query the data in Redshift, right, then it becomes, the query becomes expensive, right? So always we should ensure that, keep in mind, Redshift is very costly and expensive, okay, when it comes to triggering the queries. So we want to always ensure that having this one beautiful column called last timestamp with having the timestamp associated, it will give a good performance. Okay, make sure that we are having it. Now the important part, connecting to the Redshift source. So already I have covered like how to create a connection, right? So if not, we can simply create a connection here, okay, using this option. Else what we can simply do, I will go back here, let me open a new window. So there is something called, if you click this 3, there is something called data connections. All right, so there is something called, I have already set up these two connections with Redshift. If you want to simply create a connection, click on this, and then if you see here, there is something called Amazon Redshift, right? So go back and click on next. I will close this, click on next, and it will just simply call the which work group we are going to associate. So if you go here, we can able to see the work group name. Okay, so if you go back here, choose the relevant work group here, and then give the database name. Obviously, if you select the work group name, it will automatically populate, yes, dev as the basic and default database, and then followed by the admin name and password. Okay, already we have created these connections, so let's not worry about here, and I will be selecting Redshift. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to simply select the public as the schema here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply create a new table here. Okay, TT transform JSON. Okay, yes. So our data will be resided in public schema. Okay, in this Redshift connection. Okay, we are using a direct data connection over here. And then we are using a new table name called DT transform JSON. This table name will be present in the schema called public. Okay, yes, here we go. There are four different options, guys. So one is the append. It simply insert the records at the bottom of it in each and every table. And then second option is merge. Merge option is very simple. It works on the key. Let's say you have a primary key in a table. Okay, so you want to merge the data, the old data and the new data. You want to make use of the key. That key will be a primary key, will play as a primary key, and then merge the data into target table. Third option is very simple. If you want to simply delete the existing old records, okay, only the records, not the table, you can use this option. It will only erase all the data but not the table. Fourth option is, if you want to simply very easily create, drop the table and then recreate the table, right, target table, you can simply use this option. Okay, these four options will play based on the requirement from the customer or based on the project that requirement that it has. Okay, for the time being, let me try to select append. And of course, we don't want to append or merge or truncate drop because this table is going to be very new, very fresh, right? So let's not bother about it. I will be using the default option called append. So again, it is asking us a couple of information like what is the staging directory. It automatically creates it. Let's not worry about that. And then I'm going to use any kind of IAM role that I'm going to use. Simply save it. So output schema, you just mention that having all the associated columns whichever we are getting from this transform layer. Let's say you say like name, language, ID, bio, version, last timestamp. Okay, so these 6 columns needs to be present in a table called DT transform JSON. Okay, so let's see it in the Redshift UI itself, right? So let me try to run this and go back to run details option, where we can see the status of the job here. Every time we trigger a job, we can just simply go to this runs option, a menu where you can see the status of the job. So it will take some time, so that like we are only making use of 2 DPUs, right? If you make sure that using less number of DPUs, more the time. If you use more DPUs, less at the time. So for the time being, I'm just using only 2 DPUs. So let it complete. Alright, so now you can able to see the job status has succeeded. That's fine. So which means it has completed in 3 minutes 46 seconds. So the next option is what we should be doing, and verification is, so go back to this test group mode where we want to go and check if there is anything called table called DT transform JSON has been created or not. Alright. I'm just simply scrolling it. Yes, here we go. We can able to see the table called DT transform JSON. Let me check the column names as well. Name, language, ID, bio, version, last time. So what we can do, we can just simply query this table. Yes, just we can able to simply select the records from this editor, where we can see a couple of records to be populated over here. So here we go. Let me maximize this. Yes, so we have a column called name, language, ID, bio, version, and of course we have created one dynamic timestamp column called last timestamp with all the data associated. So here we go. So this kind of small information can be very valid in adding a new column, so that like any incremental data processing in data logic, right, that can be very useful by creating this new column called last timestamp. Any project that you have, if you want to make sure that incremental CDC data capturing is helpful, using this dynamic last timestamp column. Here we go. Alright guys, so thanks for watching this video. We'll keep you posted with some of my other videos from AWS soon. Thank you.